Hey, what's up? If you want an in-depth video of the new Pioneer DDJ REV7 with the spinning platters, as well as the more compact DDJ REV1, this is the video for you. The day of its release, we had Pioneer DJ's own Drew Bach, Mojaxx, Cleveland Terry. On this show, they dove in deep with all the highlights of the REV1 and REV7. Just in case you guys aren't familiar with us, my name is Kova. I run a weekly Twitch show called Tweak Music Tips. On this show, we interview some of the best producers, DJs, remixers, and top manufacturers like Pioneer DJ that the second something's released, they come on the show and do a live demo. If you guys want to catch it live, I'll put the links in the description. Well, anyway, enough of the chit chat. Let's dive into this demo with the DDJ REV7 and REV1.
REV7, it's basically the first battle layout controller on the market. And by battle layout, basically, we mean that the pitch faders are on the top. So not necessarily talking about battle mixer, even though the mixer in the center, kind of matches the layout of our S series mixers like the S7, S11, and, the classic S9. The pitch faders are up here because even though obviously people have given the, people before would, have the pitch fader up here because the tone arm was out of the way for juggling. What we found was that, I'm getting a little bit of echo in the background. Can somebody wear headphones? Okay. Anyway, thank you very much. So yeah, we found that when we moved the pitch fader up here, it actually allowed us to space this out more because, when you're doing the layout of a controller, you can have, obviously the pitch faders, on the inside or on the outside or what have you. And, it obviously might match other controllers on the market. But at the same time, though, by moving the pitch faders up here, we were able to actually kind of draw your attention to the mixer section. So you actually have something that really matches the feel of the S7 and S11. So if you have turntables and an S series mixer at home, this is going to feel incredibly comfortable to you. So the jog wheels, they're vinylized jogs, which means that they are motorized with 2 torque levels. So basically a PLX level and then something matching a classic turntable. You can actually remove the disc, replace the slip mat. I actually cut my own because I'm an old man and I like more of a felt feeling. But it comes with 2 plastic discs in the box that have, kind of a butter rug feel. Up here, you have the instant scratch section, which we can go over in a little bit. But basically, instant scratch actually has 4 samples that are actually in memory. So let's say you come home, you're frustrated, whatever. You want to walk up to the unit and just start cutting without plugging in your computer. You can actually do that because you actually have a beat and a full battle sentence. Otherwise, you have hot cue, scratch bank, saved loop, sampler. So you can actually have a secondary mode at all times in addition to what's over here. So for instance, if you want to say, have sampler on at all times.
Wow.
You can still have that while you have your pad section being whatever you need. Or for instance, if you use save loops a lot, you can do that as well. You have key change, slip, sensor. So for instance, you can throw it into sensor, or you can throw it into motor reverse, just like a real turntable. Auto loop with half and double. You can set the auto loop to be whatever it is in Serato, or kind of matching the S9 where you can set the beats for whatever you want as a fixed beat length. You got your effects section over here, which can be, hardware effects, software effects. Or if you want to do your own mix and match banks, you can actually have these be Serato effects, hardware effects, whichever combo you want. If you want to reassign these without going to the utility, just hold down a button, scroll. I'm literally calling that out because a reviewer I know didn't know that apparently until yesterday. Over here, you got 33 and 45. So if you're more comfortable DJing at 45 RPM, you can literally just go into Serato settings, set the native speed at 45 RPM. And if you do that, you can literally have it going at 45, then drop it down to 33. What's cool is actually the motor, it was, completely designed and engineered in-house, which we're insanely proud of. And if you actually look at just like the motor speed range, what's really cool is, let's say I were to set the range at plus 50 or negative 50, or say plus 50 at 45, you actually have the motor responding to the pitch exactly like a real turntable. So there's no software trickery or anything like that. You're literally getting the raw platter data. It's the closest thing to vinyl that exists outside of vinyl, or I guess, phase with vinyl. What's also really cool is, obviously we've, seen a couple of people, mention, like why go with 7 inches? Number one, because of the width, it's actually only slightly larger than a DDJ-1000. So for instance, you have a DDJ-1000 case, congratulations, you have a REV7 case. Also, what's cool is that because of the fact that there's no equivalent of if we put like a spindle and adapter on and it had a 10-inch record, it really has to be touched to, kind of be believed. We have a ton of new effects. Including duck down. We also got, time sweep echo, which is kind of a dub echo. Which actually does a sweep of a dub echo into an on beat echo. You got this thing called fill out, which is really fun. Basically, fill out, let's see here. Fill out is actually a bunch of different patterns. So and also, this and all the new effects actually have a parameter called R that you can select, which actually stands for random. So, for instance, if you are using duck down a lot or fill out, it actually makes it so your setting is different every single time. Fill out, what's cool is that if you let it go, also fades out, so you can use it for both drum fills as well as a fade out. Then you got helix out, which is a fun multi-use effect. You can speed off into space, or you can rev it up like a riser. And then finally, Mr. Mojaxx's favorite effect, duck down, which is a combination of a pitch down and echo. It's got silent Q up here. So hit start. So you can use it also for a mute if you want to just have like a really quick toggle without having to drop a line fader or change your knob position. Otherwise, yeah, all day long. So also, if you say, for instance, have your start speed raised up a little bit, so you want to have, so you have like a little bit of a turntable wind up. You can actually mask that. It does also have instant start if you want to use that. So I think that's a lot of the broad strokes. Oh yeah, wait, instant scratch. So instant scratch, again, basically. Instant scratch is a bunch of different battle sentences that are actually built right into the unit. So what's cool about this is, again, number one, you can walk up to the unit at any time and cut. But also, if you're one of those DJs who has the official MacBook of DJs everywhere, the 2011 MacBook Pro with an upgraded SSD, you can basically cut with 0 latency. So if you want to get down, at the venue, and your latency set at 5 milliseconds, you can literally switch over here and suddenly you have 0 latency cutting. So you actually sound as good as you do at home with your laptop you refuse to bring out with you. So I think that's about it for just the broad strokes. What y'all want me to cover?
Can we talk about the mic pre's in the front? I think that's important too.
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you. So what's cool about them is 2 things. So number one, you got your 2 mics on the front, but what's also really cool is we listened to everyone who was saying that they had they were sick of doing the Twitch lean, where they were having to, kind of lean back and, spot the knobs. So we actually color coded each of the knobs. So these 2 light gray knobs are the volume. Then the dark gray is actually the EQ. Then the light gray is the echo. Then, of course, you have your curve and your aux. So not only do you have 2 mic inputs with echo and EQ, but you don't have to lean back to be able to spot what they are, because you can literally see left to right what each knob is. You got a TRS balanced mic jack and 1 combo jack on the rear. Mojaxx and Cleveland, I don't want to hear it. But yeah, what's cool is that also in the utilities, right below smooth echo, you have the ability to set your mic echo beats. So for instance, like if you, if you remember, like on the S9, the volume for the echo is also the beat division. Whereas with this, you can just literally set whatever you want your mic beat echo to be, and then turn up the level right here. Also, this is kind of a little Easter egg. If you hold down smooth echo, it'll also bring you to the menu, because right on the top is your smooth echo settings. So that way, if you are used to going to the smooth echo settings on the S11 by holding this down, you don't lose any of that muscle memory. So
that's awesome. Could you also talk about the curve? Because Kevin Cron asked, can you adjust the fader tension and also the jog wheel tension?
Yeah. So as far as the fader tension, it's literally the exact same Magvel Pro that we have in the S11. Same feeling adjust. Fader complement is actually the same as the S11. So, if you're used to the S11 feel of faders, congratulations, you are bringing your mixer with you. And then on the front, you have feeling adjust. And of course, you can't really see my hand because you got that name tag there. Thank you. But yeah, you got your feeling adjust. You got reverse for all 3 faders. And you also got your curve for your line faders and your curve for your crossfader right there. Also, before I forget, you also do have pitch bend right here. As far as adjusting tension, yeah, absolutely. As I said before, if you look at the jog wheel, under the record, you have the ability to change out your slip mats. So right here, it comes with 2 different rings. So you can have basically 0 tension, like if you're used to, borderline using only flying carpets, or you can stack it up and basically have like a butter rug feel. Again, I like a little more tension, because again, I'm an old man. So if you want to put down this right here, you can adjust the tension further by putting down a thicker slip mat, or for that matter, if you want to like cut a felt mat, it basically feels like if you left the rubber mat on your turntable.
That's awesome.
Speaking of customization, I actually, here's where I actually get to show off, because as a last minute surprise, a friend of mine actually printed something up yesterday night, because and this is some brand new news for y'all. If you say, for instance, go to a place like, for instance, Mile High DJ in Denver, who sells CJ 3000 rings, you can basically customize these right here. So, because my whole thing's astronaut sloth, congratulations, I now have astronaut sloth, which goes very well with my custom DJ logo of astronaut sloth. Yes, I'm a dork.
Big shout out to Party Like a Mother. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome, Raiders. Just so you know, today we have Drew Bach from Pioneer DJ, who's doing a live REV7 product demo with Mojaxx and Cleveland Terry. Welcome, everybody. So we're geeking out right now. Thank you so much. We're almost at 500. So if you guys could host us, this way we break that 500. We're here to show Pioneer that DJs show up for these new products that they put out. That's awesome, Drew. Now, Drew, let's talk about the output, because if people wanted to see the back, they wanted to see how many master outs you had. I know you were talking about the line out that was really important for the microphone.
Yeah. Let's see here. I didn't know that I would actually have to lift things. What the heck, guys? So on the rear, you have your microphone, again, combo, TRS. You got your attenuator as well for each. Then on top of that, you have your auxiliary. Then you have switchable line phono. So if you're a DBS user, you can use DBS. Then over here, you have your USB 1 and 2 that you can switch between. Then you have balanced booth. Then I have my RCAs going into my ATEM. And then finally, you have XLRs. So it's a very, very full complement of outputs. Now, as far as sound quality goes with those outputs, it's incredibly good sounding. Basically, we have a very, very similar output character to the S11. The ESS DAC is in the exact same family, and on top of that, basically we use a lot of the same techniques that we use on CJ 3000 to basically reduce electromagnetic interference, noise, etc. So it's legitimately one of the best sounding controllers on the market, if not the best. The only reason I'm not saying it's the best is because, well, I need to verify that. And it's also subjective.
Can you also talk about the screen in the middle? I think that's super cool, where the BPM is in the waves. I think that's a great.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at the screen right here, making it sound like some synthwave here. Nice and relaxed. You can swap it out for song, sloth, cover art, or a readout to your next cue point. You can also zoom in and out. So if, for instance, you're more intent on having it be super accurate in terms of You want to be able to see exactly what beat you're scratching on. You can zoom in super close, or if all you care about is just seeing as many beats as you can in front of you, you can see that. What's also really cool is when the other deck's going, you can see it when I started that. You can actually see that the other deck is going. So no matter what deck you're looking at, you can actually see on the other side what's going on. Then over here, you have your overall position, which comes in handy because you have fast search if you hold down shift and do the jog wheel. So you can actually go right to the top or the end super quickly that way and see where you are in terms of track position. So also, if you double tap the 33, you actually have a digital marker, which, you know, if you say come from a DDJ 1000, you'll be right at home. Now, if you are, say, for instance, somebody who's coming from vinyl, and, you know, is, you know, basically has like a bunch of cue points set back to back, the position can reset, you know, which is basically like, I think basically every Serato controller. So we give you the option to turn it off, and in the box, it actually comes with a fine selection of stickers they can actually use to mark the record. So no matter what, we give you 2 different ways to actually mark the record, going along with markers at the 12 and 2.
Awesome. So, another question is that's coming in is what the weight.
The weight is a hair over 23 pounds. I believe that we are, I think we're actually the lightest motorized controller on the market, but to be fair, it's, you know, if it is, it's, you know, within a couple ounces. I think it's actually about the exact same weight as an SD2. So the weight is, you know, it's definitely a big boy, but it's a lot less hefty than I think people expected. That said, though, we didn't really sacrifice at all on build quality. Top plate is metal. You know, then the sides, you know, in I guess our typical fashion, the sides are plastic. However, though, if you were to actually remove the sides and the bottom, you actually have a full metal inner chassis. So essentially, the way we construct our products is, you know, we have a protective outer layer of plastic, but then we also have an inner chassis. So it's almost like, I guess it's like having a chassis around your chassis. Yeah, so it is ridiculously durable, and just because I don't think that anyone would have accepted any less, the top feels basically like an S series mixer in terms of, you know, being all metal, except for the top is actually brushed metal and the bottom is a matte finish that's exclusive to this product.
Awesome. Now, right before we bring the guys out, can you talk a little bit about the pads? Because I know the pads are, I mean, obviously with the 16 in the front and then all the other functions.
Yeah. So as far as these pad functions go, there's not going to be any big surprises. Hot cue, pitch play. So it would actually help if I had loop roll that was a little bit low. And if you have it on beat jump, you can actually beat jump back and forth. If you have save loops, it's right there. Sampler. Let's see here. Then if you hit shift. Now, some people have asked about gate Q, I think, because the S11 introduced that. This actually does have gate Q. It's just that it's, I guess you could say, kind of hidden. When we introduced gate Q before on the S11, it was in response to people who were saying that they would do the trick where they quickly throw Serato into internal mode and DVS and then start doing hot cues. And so with this, If it's stopped, you actually have the ability to do gated hot cues and then hit start stop. If it's playing, you can do that right there. Slicer loop. Then if you have saved flips right here. And then, of course, scratch bank.
Oh, wow. Oh.
And then what's really cool is that works in conjunction with these modes up here. So you got your hot cue. And then scratch bank. Then on top of that, you got save loop and you got sampler. So as far as pad modes go, you actually have access to 12 pads across 4 different modes if you want to get really crafty. And then of course you got your parameters right up here with parameter 1, parameter 2 on a shift. So for instance, if you want to like swap between scratch banks, you can. Just so you know, there is no parameter up here. So if you want to say switch your sampler bank, you do have to go into sampler over here. Same with scratch bank, but I like to think that that was probably acceptable. So then of course you got sampler right here. And of course, if you turn on, if you hold shift and hit the smooth echo button, that blinking indicates that sampler, the sampler effects is on. So you can actually go right to, or so basically whenever you hit an effect, it will actually echo that or whatever. And then otherwise smooth echo works exactly the way it does on an S11.
So El Cabi, salute to you, fam, says, does it have multiple ports for your laptop connectivity?
Oh, absolutely. Right in the rear, there's 2 USB ports. Then, you know, on the top, basically if you have a second laptop, just switch it right over. Otherwise, if you switch to the middle, you know, the pads turn into your pad effects. So, you know, different beat divisions for whatever effect you're on, or if you're in fader synth, whatever key you want to go to. But yeah, you can swap between 2 different laptops. It's actually class compliant. So what's really cool is, you know, if you say had an iPhone, you could even hook it up and play iPhone audio through it, through the other USB port, you know, in case of emergency.
That's awesome.
You know, I never thought about that.
One. The real DJ Pudgy asks, can we get a split queue?
You don't have to ask.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yes, we can.
So it has split queue, everybody.
Mono split. Mono split.
So one of the asks is Philip Tan asks, are the MIDI triggers sent out of both USB interfaces at the same time?
No. So if you have 2 computers connected, it will send out audio to both, which is also important because, for instance, if you say have a computer set up over here for your stream computer and your DJ computer, you can actually set up the outputs to be totally different. So for instance, you can actually do multi-track recording while you're recording your stream on computer number 2, while computer number 1 remains, you know, your Serato computer. However, the MIDI triggers are only directed to the device that you have swapped over to.
Okay, good. Kenny D, DJ Kenny D asks, is there mic ducking?
You mean talk over? Yes, there is. Yep, right in the front, there's actually a switch where it's off, on, and then talk over. And there's a very helpful blinking LED to let you know if you are in talk over mode. And then there's a regular and advanced talk over mode in the utility settings.
Okay, cool.
I do want to say that I'm a little disappointed, Drew, that
What?
you didn't have a camera on your front panel. You have like 40 cameras in the room. I'm surprised you don't have a camera for
a back camera, a front camera, right? You should have one on your chest, like a GoPro on your chest for the front.
I have a million cameras, but that said though, it's already like a spider's web of cables, and I work, like I spent about a year working from home like everyone else, and it probably would have been an OSHA violation.
I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
which came up from comments on my video or some, the other videos. I watched all the videos as we all do. The first one was somebody asked whether it had the Bluetooth from the S7, and I'm wondering if that's something you considered for this, or was this like developed before the S7? Like, do you think, what happened? Where's the Bluetooth at? Because that's a really good feature. People seem to like that.
So as far as that goes, we obviously consider everything, but I mean, they were, obviously they were developed in parallel, but yeah, just for a myriad of reasons, it wasn't included. I think, partially because of cost, partially because of time.
Have you got good feedback on that feature on the S7?
Oh yeah. It's crazy how useful that's ended up being, especially for the mobile market. Sometimes when you introduce a feature, you think that, as a team, like you think about, you think that you understand how people will use it. And then you just end up seeing so much traction, from the market in terms of like how they're using it in ways that you never intended, which is really cool.
The other one was, had you considered a motor off mode, like a CDJ mode? Because I can imagine this thing getting installed in quite a lot of bars and stuff. And I feel like there's some DJs who don't use spinning platters. They might be a bit put off by that. Like, had you actually considered maybe just being able to turn the motors off and just use the platters as a big pitch bend wheel, like on a CDJ?
Yeah, as far as that goes, obviously we consider everything. I can't remember the technical reasons why we didn't do it. However, though, I can tell you, just from scratching with the motor off, it's not necessarily as satisfying as you think, just because of the fact that there's actually some platter ballistics that happen even when you let go. So basically, if you say pull back, the problem is the platter is actually lurching forward. And unlike a CDJ, you can't adjust this that kind of tension. So no matter what, the platter is still going to be dragging behind, back, or for that matter, if you're scratching and let go, it would actually, probably, lurch you forward a little bit, because let's say, for instance, I scratch like that, it's actually going to go forward. And because the platter itself is actually directly coupled to the motor, if you let go, it's going to go, yeah, or whoa.
Yeah. It's fine. I mean, it's just one of those things. I look at spinning platters, I'm like super hyped. I'm like, yeah, spinning platters all day. But some people don't use spinning platters, and I just thought, that's going to put off. Some DJs might turn up to a bar and be like, no, I can't get on with this weird spinny thing here. So it was just an interesting question I hadn't thought of myself, but there you go. Any more? Do you want to get to some more chat questions, Clover?
Someone asked, is this the first battle style pitch control on the top?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's as far as I know, obviously not counting like very small controllers that have very interesting odd pitch positions and whatever, and cool ones, I will say. This is without a doubt the first full size controller with the pitch faders on top.
So good. DJ Bubacon asks, when will the REV7 be released in Canada?
End of February, exactly the same as the United States.
End of February, there it is.
There's a question from Real DJ Yoshi. Is there a motor life in hours? Have you been able to test this long term to see if there's any issues after a certain amount? Is there something they can expect or be aware of?
As far as how long we've rated the motor for, I don't think we necessarily I don't think there's been enough time to actually check that, because it's kind of like it's sort of like putting a PLX in a chamber and just hitting start and just waiting a few years. On the other hand, I can tell you that I had or like we were shipped like one of the first prototypes like a very long time ago, and I've gotten very, very, very familiar with it for a very long time. And even when compared to the released version, the motor feels exactly the same. So I don't think there's anything to worry about.
All right. So
Actually,
Colin,
sorry. Actually, the one thing to keep in mind also is that even though there have been some comments obviously about the lack of IEC cable, because the power supply is actually external from the unit, what that means is that there's actually no heat from the power supply inside the unit baking the motor. One of the things that obviously can kill any electronics products really quick is heat. And for instance, that would also affect motor life. And because of the fact that the power supply is external, this unit runs really cool. I've left it on for weeks at a time.
Is there any thought to opening this up to record box?
As far as that goes, there's always thought of everything. Really, I think that just kind of comes down to, what the demand is, in customer comments. As far as, timelines, I can't give you a firm yes or no, and I can't give you a when, but I can say that we pride ourselves on listening.
And for anybody that's using virtual DJ or algorithms DJ, I mean, you can expect them to map this over as soon as they get them in house. So I'm sure that's coming regardless.
yeah, that was also on there too. So Colin, the Captain Hines asks, can you load your own samples on these scratch banks?
Well,
No.
on Scratch Bank you can. On Instant Scratch you can't. The samples are actually baked directly into the firmware. So because of that, you can't load on new samples. I think that we did a pretty darn good job in terms of giving selection. Obviously, not everyone's going to be happy with everything. But that said, though, that's why we also give you direct access to Scratch Bank up here, because that way, if you are wanting to have, instant access to your Scratch samples, not only do you have the instant Scratch option right here, but you do have Scratch Bank right over here as well. So your muscle memory remains the same regardless of which mode you're using.
I'm a big fan of button 2.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic sample lineup there.
Yeah. Go.
Big fan.
The one thing about the
my
instant
favorite
scratch,
too.
which I came across, and it was when I was playing and doing my live stream last night. It was like, this beat in the instant scratch, that is ideal for sound check. Like if you rock up to the venue, setting up your kit, but you don't want to get your laptop out and plug in your laptop and start up Serato and everything else, you can just run a beat and check your levels. Just very simply without having to get all that extra stuff out. For me, that's an absolutely killer little feature as well. So it's not just for an instant scratch thing. Like that's cool and everything, but yeah, there are other uses for it as well, I think.
That's a great in-real use case. I love that. Let's see. DJ Flavors asks, are the mic inputs combo jack?
The mic input 1 is a combo jack. Mic input 2 is TRS balanced. So if you want to say use 2 1/4 inches, you're golden. If you want to use 2 XLRs, sorry, the second one you will have to get a TRS adapter.
And
I don't want to hear it.
I wasn't even going to say anything, but I do want to point out for some of the people that are asking questions and, either they came in late or whatnot, feel free to watch either Mojaxx's video on it or my video on it, because we go into details about all the products too. So if
that's an hour's worth of content right there. Like when the embargo lifted yesterday, all the videos went live and I was like, oh great, this is what I'm doing for the next 3 hours, is watching all of these videos, because we all watch each other's, like I want to know what Cleveland thinks, I want to know what Phil thinks from Digital DJ Tips, so I have to watch all the videos about, and there was 2 controllers, let's not forget the REV1 as well, which also dropped at the same time. I mean, I think, if you've got one of those there, can we just can we get an overhead on that, maybe a little talk through on the REV1 as well?
Yeah,
because bless the REV1, it's kind of like I said in my review, it's like a bit overshadowed by the REV7, but it's still. What's on your jog wheels, fam?
Oh,
yeah.
This is the gold one.
What?
Let me make this
There's
full
a gold
screen.
one?
I want to make this full screen. Let's see 1 second here.
Exclusive.
Exclusive. Hold on. Let me take this out. So everybody, this is the Rev1. So this is a small version. The MSRP on this is $259 US.
So basically, this is a layout that matches the Rev7. So the whole idea is that if you are to basically, if you step up to, if you buy this as like a first controller or say an upgrade from another low end controller, you actually develop muscle memory that lets you go directly to a Rev7 or an S-Series mixer and turntables and not miss a beat, because the pitch fader's right up here, your effects are right up here, your pedals right up here, your pad modes are right up here. So you actually have that muscle memory that builds with you. You have your play button, your stutter cue, pad modes. We have a mode called tracking scratch, which, if you want to see a really good demo of that, obviously check out Priyan Joni's demo. He's the man. But yeah, basically with tracking scratch, what it allows you to do is actually cut with the jog wheel. But yeah, it'll actually insert fader movements directly into your cutting. So if you say, for instance, want to like battle against yourself, you can say, for instance, turn on tracking scratch, cut, and then turn off the pattern, and then match it with the crossfader. So it allows you to learn, or for that matter, if you want to just have like, say a perfect Jazzy Jeff rhythm scratch when you're cutting in.
Thanks for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you smash the like button and comment. In addition, make sure you don't miss any other interviews with some of the top DJs, producers, and artists from all over the world. If you like our content, please make sure you subscribe. And also, don't forget to hit that bell icon. This way you're notified when we release any new videos. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.